Hey everybody, this is Bryan, Snappy, and you're watching another episode of PIVXpress. So in this week's episode, there's a lot of stuff we want to cover. We'll keep it really brief. Everything from what just happened with Bitcoin to updates from the Meetup in San Fran to some insider tips of what's coming in the next 6 weeks for PIVX. So guys, stay tuned. There's a lot in this episode. We'll keep it short for you. Let's jump into it. So first things first, right? And this is why I'm in the chair and spun around, because guess what? Everyone didn't know what to expect. Everything was in a tizzy. Everything was spinning out of control. There's gonna be splits. It's the end of the world. We're still here, right? So it's interesting to see how much this fork and split brought to light a lot of information about cryptocurrencies into the mainstream. So on the one hand, yeah, like you can have your opinions about everything that just happened, and there's a lot of them. However, everything else aside, guys, take it for granted. We're on the cusp of something here in crypto as a whole, and now there's a lot more attention being brought into this industry. So that's a really cool thing, right? I mean, some of us have been in for 4 or 5 years, some of us are brand new, and everything's changing. So it's a good thing. Another really quick update, which everybody, or maybe not everybody, knows about, is that the Android wallet launched, right? So that was a pretty big milestone. Check that one off of the timeline. Yeah, and we're getting great reviews. I think we're close to 1,000 downloads. It's not even been a week. So that's really awesome. And the cool thing too is, there are updates scheduled almost every 2 to 3 weeks for new features being built on that Android. So stay tuned, guys. There's a lot of work going into that already. It's not just a one and done. No, there's gonna be some cool improvements coming out. And so shortly here, we'll start to expect some work being done and completed on the iOS app as well. All right, recap about San Fran. So the meetup was amazing. I think there was about 35 to 40 people that showed up, including some developers from Dogecoin. I mean, that's pretty cool, right? Like, it's actually was really neat to be in San Fran, see a lot of the crypto community coming out to support us, and just be there. So, and also this was the first time that devs showed up, right? So that's one of the things people are like, oh, PIVX has these pseudo-anonymous devs and nobody knows who they are. Well, actually, guys, they showed up. They were there. They're real people. They're really good people, too. And that was a lot of fun to get to meet them, and the audience had a chance to Q&A, and it was a really good, specific meetup. So outside of that specific 2 to 3 hour window of the meetup that happened in San Fran, I actually got to sit down with a couple of developers the day after for about 3 hours and just listen to them, hear how they process and what they have in store. And guys, I can tell you, be glad you're part of PIVX right now. And I don't say that very lightly. It's pretty impressive what these guys are up to on multiple levels. Not just from the tech and what they're about to develop, also just on the camaraderie that these guys have together and why they're doing what they're doing. It's hard to put into words other than look around PIVX, right? There's a lot of passion. I can tell you that the developers that you might not see all the time, you might not hear about them, there's a lot of passion going into this project. So that was really cool to experience. The other bit of announcement news, you could call it, there are, I think, 6 developers now, core developers working on PIVX, and those numbers are going to be increasing pretty soon. So there's some talks about actually expanding into multiple subgroups to begin working on that. So that's what's amazing. There's already 6 core developers on PIVX, not including the other developers working on third-party applications, whether it's the point-of-sale terminal, whether it's the Android, iOS wallets. That core group's about to get bigger as well. That's really awesome. So everyone in the community, I mean, you guys should be really proud. There's a lot of attention coming in this coin, and from a development standpoint, there's a lot of work being done already. Something that developers let slip, which I'm going to go out on a limb and say it anyway, is when you look at the GitHub repo, right, you'll see that public repo and you'll see commits, and there's 1 or 2 every day, which is impressive, right, let alone in the development realms. There's a private repo as well for the core developers of PIVX before they actually push anything live. That has 200 to 400 commits a day. So that's why when you guys are like, man, PIVX is doing a lot of work, there's stuff coming out, and the next 6 weeks when you see what's about to be unleashed, that's why. There's so much work being done that you guys don't get to see until it hits the main repo, right? So they're very active, just like you see in the community, right? You see from the marketing standpoint, oh, everybody's really active, they're vibrant, they're passionate. Yeah, these guys are as passionate and committed on the back end. It's just we don't get to see it, right? So if you see one of the developers in Slack, if you want to send them a note or a letter, I don't know how you get it to them, but you can send them a letter anyway. Tell them thank you, right? They're doing some amazing work, and they loved getting to meet the community in person, and also had that chance to sit down and see what we're doing from a marketing standpoint as well. So great job all around for PIVX, really good job. General call, okay? A general call out to the entire PIVX community. There's actually a call later today. It's what, Tuesday? I'm not really sure what day it is. Time blends together when you're in PIVX. But there will be a general call going out to the community for ways for you to get even more involved and actually benefit from it as well. Besides just seeing your PIVX grow and seeing the community grow, there'll be some real other benefits that'll be coming your way. So stay tuned. So if you're sitting there going, look, I don't have a ton of time, I'm not gonna be able to make videos, what can I do to help support this? Get involved in Slack now, because we're going to be hopefully debuting some platforms and some other ways for everybody to get involved, and that'll actually directly benefit you as well. So stay tuned, guys. And then lastly, there's actually a few PIVX community members that are going to start traveling pretty regularly to various meetups. There's some that are going to be happening in China. There's some in Cyprus. And then there's a few others that we're not going to disclose yet, but we're getting out there. So expect to see more and more Pivians, not just myself, but Pivians from all over, attending conferences, representing, and doing presentations at them, right? So that makes me excited to see that this endeavor and this project, we're really just getting started. I know we're 5 months in, but we're really just getting started. So stay tuned, everybody. There's a lot of good stuff coming your way. Again, I'm Bryan, Snappy of PIVX, and this was another episode of PIVXpress.